Research in Motion's long-awaited PlayBook tablet computer launched last week, and to call the reviews mixed would be generous. Computer World Canada senior writer Raphael Ruffolo, what's so bad about the PlayBook?
Well, basically, I think I agree with most of the consensus, which is that it's just an unfinished device. Cutting off, this is the biggest thing for me, cutting off your non-BlackBerry users by not having native email support. And what I mean by that is you actually need a BlackBerry smartphone to check email on here outside of your browser.
And a particular vintage of it has to be the most up-to-date of the BlackBerry.
Yeah, I mean that's ludicrous, really. I mean, if you're cutting off any non-BlackBerry user, and if RIM was throwing this tablet in as a freebie with every phone, that would make a lot of sense. But they're not doing that. They're trying to, compete with the other tablets that are out there, and that's my biggest gripe.
It's your biggest gripe. I'm going to argue that in a corporate environment, that arrangement that separates the email client from the tablet and maintains it on the BlackBerry is a good thing. It's one more device that doesn't have to be configured and vetted for the network by IT. Data's safer. It remains on the BlackBerry rather than traveling back and forth over the Wi-Fi connection. You can still access webmail through Wi-Fi. Remember, they're projecting 3/4 of these devices are going to be sold in the corporate market. So that's squarely what they're aiming at. A non-BlackBerry user who's a consumer, yeah, I can see how that might irk. But in a corporate environment,
I mean, even with the corporate environment argument, I've had a few interviews recently in some stories I've done. One was just last week with a company in the U.S., and they were switching away from BlackBerry Enterprise Server, and they were looking for management solutions for Android. And there's companies that are looking for management solutions for some of the other big OSs. It's a new world now, and IT isn't dictating what devices you can bring in. So I don't see the argument with, we're going to be a BlackBerry shop and we're going to roll out these tablets, these playbooks, as a viable argument anymore and a viable business case for RIM to count on. I think they have to come up with a device, a tablet, that consumers want to use, and in effect, that'll translate over to businesses wanting to use them. And the native email one is a big thing, but there's other things as well. The actual size of the device. It's not that well suited, in my opinion, to reading websites, to using it as an e-reader. It's just a little bit too small. Sure, it feels comfortable in your hand for a long period of time, but the extra 3 inches makes a big difference as a content device, which is, I think, the iPad and even the Zoom has over this device.
I actually like the size. It's a little bit, just a hair too big for a suit pocket, but I think what you're going to find is that, and call me crazy, but I've got a cell phone pocket in this jacket, which wouldn't have been there 10 years ago.
Right.
So I think the size of jacket pockets is actually going to get bigger because there's really only the two form factors. There's a 7-inch and a 10-inch, so they're going to accommodate a 7-inch.
I think there's going to be, if suit designers...
That's completely off topic.
If there's suit designers that do that, I think they're going to be on a fast track to going out of business by putting a 7-inch pocket. I just don't see it. I mean, I even see, this might be a little extreme here, I see RIM in the very near future pulling these tablets off the market and coming up with something a little bit different, rebranding it, and starting over again. I really do believe that. It's not that it's the hardware is bad. I love the screen. The screen. I love the hardware on this, but it's the other things, the native email, even the lack of apps. They're going to have to reevaluate.
The apps is important. I think that it needs more apps, which means it needs more developers. One thing I will criticize is the native apps on it. There's not even a note-taking app, and that is ridiculous. But there are many true believers out there, BlackBerry true believers. They've shipped 150,000 of these or something to that effect already. I think bigger footprint is going to attract more developers, and especially if they're supporting on the Android side. Of course, we haven't seen what the Android support is going to look like. Last word.
Last word, we're calling these tablets iPads already. I was at some recent conferences, whether it's an iPad or not, people are saying, can you pass me that iPad? That is the brand to beat. I don't think this is enough.
Thanks a lot, Raphael.